Judge Andrew Napolitano is a Fox News senior judicial analyst, and he joins me now. So now, it looks like it was a shotgun and not an AR-15, which is one of the things that we're learning this morning.
Right.
A lot of people hopped on that as evidence that this is very similar to the James Holmes case, where he used a gun like that, and called once again to get more serious about gun control in this country.
It's almost inconceivable that there could be more gun control in Washington, D.C. than there is, and it would still be lawful. In Washington, D.C., even if you're a cop, even if you're an off-duty cop, even if you're an ex-cop, even if you're a law-abiding citizen, you can only possess the gun lawfully in your house. You can't carry it from A to B. You can't even carry it from your house to your...
No concealed carry at all.
Correct.
Right.
Correct. Now, so we have that law, which establishes an anti-gun mentality for people who live in Washington, D.C., even those charged with protecting others and protecting government property, like naval officers. We also have an executive order from President Clinton in 1993, which prohibits carrying weapons when on duty on military posts. Now, that's almost absurd. These are the best trained users of weapons on the planet. We probably would not have had a Fort Hood massacre of the magnitude that we did, and we certainly wouldn't have had a Naval Yard massacre of the magnitude that we did yesterday if naval and military officers were allowed to carry weapons that they are expert in using. I do not blame the government for failing to know the background of every employee of every vendor it hires. We just heard Catherine. This guy was a loner and a nut and left no footprint. It's almost impossible to predict violence from that.
Yeah, but we knew a couple things, Judge. And, this is where I think that, we have to have common sense in dealing with these issues as well. He had been arrested twice. He had an incident where he shot his gun through the ceiling of an apartment into someone else's apartment.
Yes.
Okay? He also shot up the tires on someone's car in another incident. The charges were dropped, so he was not convicted. So because he had no conviction, he didn't fall under that part of the ruling. We also know that he had sought medical attention for PTSD. Now, we know, everybody at home, who's going to say you can't, put a blanket over every PTSD patient. However, when you've got a confluence of these things, there ought to be a measure that says when this person comes through, when this person is scanned in, we need to do a body check. You need to check their car.
It's
common sense.
I agree with you. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But when the government, creates an anti-gun mentality in the area around the Naval Yard, that is in D.C. and the environs, in Maryland, not in Virginia, but in Maryland and D.C., where a lot of these people live, and an anti-gun mentality, like there's something wrong with having a gun in the Naval Yard on the federal property, and it lets a guy like this come in with a gun, not a hero who could have had a sidearm, who could have taken him out, but this monster. The government's thinking is perverse. It doesn't respect the Second Amendment it has sworn to uphold. It doesn't even care about the workplace safety of its own employees.
We have so many rules in place, and this permeates a number of areas in society. So many rules in place that common sense seems to be missing.
Yes.
So if you can evade the rule, which this guy figured out how to do, obviously, then you're in like Flynn.
Clinton's executive order, and I'm surprised that George W. Bush didn't change it. I'm not surprised that Barack Obama didn't, was based upon political correctness. We want a military post to appear more like a workplace, so we don't want guys walking around with guns. When I was 19 years old, in basic training at Fort Knox, Kentucky, in the Vietnam era, we walked around with sidearms, carrying them,
the guards
and they were
at this
loaded.
Building had guns, though.
Well,
the guards have guns.
That's not enough.
And we know that one of those guards was shot, apparently, according to the latest reports we have, and that his gun was taken away from him.
Same guards had guns at Fort Hood, and that wasn't enough to save the 12 people that were slaughtered there. So this is just going to keep happening until the government opens up its eyes and realizes safe, sound, trained people carrying guns are going to protect us better than unenforced political correctness.